Making a career out of music is very difficult. Sean Foran and Andy Vance are two examples of Australian jazz pianists that have managed to establish themselves and have both created very successful musical careers. Sean Foran's career started in 1999 out of the formation of his band Trichotomy. Trichotomy are a piano, bass and drum trio that play a mixture of modern jazz, rock and contemporary classical music. At the time, Sean was studying a Bachelor of Music in Jazz Piano at the Queensland Conservatorium, and Trichotomy formed out of their ensemble class.
Around the year 2000, like maybe even a little bit earlier, like the band that I play in, Trichotomy, we put that group together when we were at the con, actually, John and I and a different bass player. So we were studying like you, and so we put that group together at the con. And we're just doing like little gigs around Brisbane, so I suppose.
Since its formation, Trichotomy have gone from doing the odd gig around Brisbane to doing international tours around Europe, the UK, Canada, Korea, Japan and China. They have released 10 albums from 2009 to the present. After completing his bachelor degree, Sean continued to upskill himself by completing other degrees and courses. He completed a graduate certificate in Arts Administration at QUT, a Masters of Arts in Jazz Performance at the Leeds College of Music in the UK, and did many other mentorships and short courses. Sean realised early on that he wasn't going to be just a jazz player, so he found work as a piano player, a composer, a teacher, and as a collaborator. One of Sean's main focuses is to write original music, rather than being a gigging session player. Throughout all of these musical projects, Sean has often contacted and collaborated with different musicians from all around the world. We can see that Sean's career follows a portfolio approach, as his income is made up of a variety of different sources. His career path also aligns with the chaos career theory, as the seemingly insignificant event of a trio forming out of a uni class turned into a successful band that toured around the world. Andy Vance is an Australian jazz pianist who has played with many different bands and recorded many original albums. Andy started out learning classical piano around the age of 8. He was very interested in pop music and often learned pop songs by ear. In the early 1970s, Andy was asked to join a band with his high school friends called Chautauqua. It was a fusion of jazz, rock, and folk. They released an album and had many of their tracks played on air.
But I got asked to join a rock band with mates that I used to go to school with. And the name of the band, if you want to look it up, was Chautauqua. Chetarca. And so we ended up being like a jazz, fusion, rock, folk kind of all-round band.
After the band broke up in 1976, Andy decided to pursue a solo piano and composition career. Influenced by artists such as Herbie Hancock, Keith Jarrett, Chick Corea, and Oscar Peterson, he started playing piano in bars and restaurants. Andy wanted to get qualified, so he completed a diploma of jazz studies, then continued in his study to complete a Bachelor of Music and a graduate diploma in improvisation. In the 1990s, he taught for 6 years at the Western Australia Academy of Performing Arts. Since then, Andy has been writing, arranging, and recording jazz in a variety of different ensembles and with a variety of different musicians. Many of his albums include arrangements of old hymns and Christian music. Andy's career also follows a portfolio approach, as his income is from a variety of different gigs, jobs, and other sources. The chaos career theory also aligns with his career path. Events such as his band forming in high school, being offered record deals, and having his music played on the radio all contributed to his career success. Sean says that the most important aspects of his tertiary study were learning to become a good piano player and a good band member. However, when studying his undergraduate degree, He didn't learn how to be a professional musician or how to make music his career. But in his postgraduate, he did learn about those things: the industry, networking, and how to make a living as a musician. These were the most important aspects of his postgraduate study.
Arts tertiary study. Like in my undergraduate, I didn't learn anything about how to be a professional musician that was outside of being a good player and an understanding of theory. Like I learned a lot about theory and a lot about how to be a good piano player, which was really awesome. But I didn't learn anything about how to be a professional musician because that kind of thing didn't really exist in the undergraduate study when I did it. And so the most important thing about my undergraduate study was like learning to be a good player and learning to be a good band member.
Andy said that the most important aspects of his study were transcribing music, working with other musicians, learning to play as a soloist, and doing his thesis on the jazz pianist Ray Bryant. The highs of Sean's career were doing tours around the world and collaborating with other musicians. Sean's lowlights were having things not work out. There were many times when he would spend a lot of time, effort, and money on a project that wasn't successful. He always tries to learn from disappointment and see what he can do differently next time. He said that disappointment is inevitable for musicians, and that you have to stay resilient and positive, or it will destroy you. One of Andy's highs is working as a piano teacher at the music summer school in Hungary, where he taught pianists from all around the world. One of his major career lowlights was the cancellation of gigs and piano teaching for the past year. He says that the most important thing is that you grow through disappointments.
And instead of I always use this expression, if you have disappointments, remove the dis and expect the next appointment.
Sean is fortunate to have a full-time teaching job, which gives him a steady income to financially support him and his family. His financial security gives him the ability to work on the musical projects that he wants to work on, without having to worry about paying the bills. And his band, Trichotomy, is a self-sustaining business, meaning that the band makes its own money and pays for itself. Andy says that the arts are very financially challenging, and you have to expect ups and downs. He is currently financially sustained from a variety of incomes, including teaching, gigs, and royalties from recordings. Sean's advice is to utilise the time at uni to invest in core musical skills. An undergraduate degree is the best time to work towards the foundations of the craft that you can build on later. Sean also said that networking is very important. So much of what you do is who you know and your reputation. Andy's advice was to work hard at every aspect of music and to seek like-minded musicians. He said that recording is really important because the entire industry is heard through recordings, and we should contribute to that as well. Sean Foran and Andy Vance have had very different career paths, but they have both displayed resilience when challenged with failed projects and things that haven't gone to plan. They are both excellent musicians and have had very successful careers, and they love what they do.